I always say it was harder than prison. Like going through that was definitely harder than prison. Oh yeah. This isn't a willpower thing. This is a disease. Like it is powerful, and that's how it will override anything. And then next thing you know, I had a full SWAT raid at my house. I was as freer than I'd ever been, but I was in federal prison. You know, I was free from the drugs. Like I was free from that life.
It's not like you stop having fun when you get sober. You can, all the fun is still the same. You know, it's just not clouded by the the fogginess of drugs and alcohol and stuff like that.
It was the first time I lost a human in my addiction, and that's what got me sober.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for considering donating to my podcast. When I started this page just a few months ago, I did not think I would get to this place that I'm at right now, but I cannot thank you all enough for even considering to donate to my cause. A lot of work goes into these things, whether that be getting guests, getting the expensive equipment, the editing. Oh my God, the editing takes me forever, and I'm terrible at it, so it takes me even longer. But if you're here, thank you. Whatever you can afford, I would so appreciate it. It would mean the world to me. So if you want to hear these recovery stories, keep coming, then please consider donating. It would mean just the absolute the world to me. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being a part of my journey. I really don't know what else to say besides thank you. And be on the lookout for many, many more episodes coming soon. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Willpower Podcast. I am so happy and thrilled and grateful that you're all here with me again today. Today, I'm super excited because I have a very special guest. I was exploring her throughout the past couple of weeks since I knew that this podcast was coming, and her story is absolutely fascinating. So let me give you a little brief intro. Okay. So today, I'm pumped to have Samantha. Is it Lander or Lander?
Lander.
Okay, great. So today I'm pumped to have Samantha Lander, a functional diagnostic nutritionist who turned her life around after a brutal battle with multiple addictions, prison, and homelessness. From relapsing after 13 years sober to helping women ditch the bottle and own their health, Samantha's story is proof you can rise above the ashes. So let's get into it. How are you doing today, Samantha? Thank you so much for coming on the Willpower Podcast.
Oh, no problem. I love doing podcasts. I'm good.
You good?
The sun's out. It's been raining here for like months.
Yeah.
A lot of rain, like Seattle rain. And I'm in St. Louis.
Yeah. So that, yeah, I mean, same here in Boston. It's been absolutely, terrible weather, but today is actually stunningly beautiful. So I'm super happy, and I just love the sunshine. So that's great. That's great. Everything. We can talk about the weather later, though, right? So let's get into it. So your story is fascinating. I was just saying, I've been following you for the past couple of weeks and just really kind of getting into your story. And there's so much to it, whether that's the addictions, the prison, the changing your life around and inspiring others. It's just all remarkable. And especially I love the gut biome stuff that you talk about often and how it's related to our overall health and wellness and how important that your gut is when it comes to nutrition, right? So my first question to you is, you were 13 years sober when then alcohol dragged you back after your son was born. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah. So what made that relapse feel so heavy? And what was the moment you knew you had to fight your way out again? And what was it about alcohol specifically that I've noticed this on a couple of your podcast episodes. You said that alcohol was one of the hardest ones for you to quit, which I found just, unbelievably remarkable, because that's what happened to me. I drank myself to 2 weeks left of my life. That's where I started this whole podcast journey. So I'm curious, what do you have to say about that?
So for me, it was right after my kid was born, and really I was waiting, I was banking it, but it's so socially acceptable to drink. Like you can get away with it. And I was sitting in a breastfeeding class, and this woman was like, and I was just really struggling. I was just struggling. I had a kid, and there was a whole lot of struggle going on. I'm not very maternal. I was dealing with some relationship stuff and trying to breastfeed and not working. And if you learn, you'll learn a little more about me, but I like to work and make money, and that's where I kind of thrive. That's kind of my flow state. And so I remember the woman just looking at me and being like, "You just need to have a drink." And I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, you can say
All right,
fuck, you
all
can say
right.
shit, whatever you want.
All right. So I went and I called my parents and they kind of were like, sure, what like they didn't, I don't think they thought anything of it because it was like 13 years. It wasn't like had I said I'm gonna go use meth and take a bunch of Molly, they probably wouldn't have been okay with it. Is
Yeah.
what I always think. So it was okay. It was socially acceptable. And I was also just trying to like once I had a little taste of like relief from all the shit that I was feeling that had just been building since I had to do infertility treatment and stuff. So like I think that's where the obsessive compulsive behavior started. Like that the addiction started to like resurface big time. And I wasn't going to meetings or working any program. I was just holding on for dear life at this point. And I think with like the hormones and like the inability to control like getting pregnant, like my body feeling like it was dysfunctioning, like it just took me to a really dark place. I always say it was harder than prison. Like going through that was
Really?
definitely harder than prison. Oh yeah.
So having a child and going through that completely.
Going through the infertility was harder
Oh,
than
the
prison.
infertility. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just the process of having my son.
Oh
And
my
so that's
goodness.
where I think it started. And then, my marriage was just sort of struggling and having a kid was hard. I just
Hmm.
wasn't ready for it. And I just was like, I need out. I wanted to check out.
Hmm.
So life kind of hit.
Yeah. So that must have been really, really difficult because I mean, you were 13 years sober at this time.
Yeah. Yeah. I had 13 years.
Wow. Now, what was that like? Lead me up to that moment where you finally decided to take that drink. I mean, you've been through so much already, and you already overcame so many years of sobriety. I'm just curious as to like what is going through your mind in that instant.
I didn't even think about it. I thought I'd be fine.
Yeah. See, that's what worries me too.
I thought I would be fine because I never really liked drinking.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I hated it. It was never my drug of choice. Like I'm a blackout drinker. I don't feel in control. Like, yeah, I didn't think anything of it. And I think I was just so sleep deprived. And then, I mean, my husband had 23 years and started drinking when I was pregnant and it looked fun.
Hmm.
It looked fun. And like, if he was okay, like it was okay with, he was doing okay. I don't even know that he is an addict. He got sober at 16. So he's had alcohol sitting on his counters for like
Mm.
months. Like I don't understand how
How
people
people
can
can
do
do that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
right.
I'm the same
I
way.
mean, I understand how some people can, but like I don't know. Like she and I were addicts, right? But I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do that. And yeah, it was okay for a while, and then it took. I don't think I put much thought into it, but I mean, the program was always a little in the back of my head. So I think I was always like, I got to be careful with how I do this.
Yeah. So
It's okay
let's
for a while.
back up a little bit. So let's go back to your to when everything kind of started getting a little out of control for you. So reading up about you, I heard that you went to Michigan, right? You were partying it up, you were DJing and all this great stuff, or was that after? Was that during that time?
I went to University of Michigan, and then I moved out to LA, and that's
Hmm.
where I had a job all set up, and then the job fell through, and I bought two turntables. I was like, I'm gonna be a DJ.
And that's when like the drugs started to come into the scene, correct?
No, so I went junior year of college. I went through a really really bad breakup, and called my best friend. He's like, come to LA and visit. And it's like I walked out of that plane and I was like, I'm moving here. This is my place.
Hmm.
And he had just come out of the closet, and I mean they're everywhere in LA, but like the gay scene, there was a lot of drugs. I mean the straight scene, there were a lot of drugs, but it was a little safer for me, I think, because they were gay and it
Hmm.
wasn't like I had to worry about a lot, honestly. And they would take care of me, and I started really exploring like all the drugs, and that's when I started bringing drugs back to Michigan and doing a lot of drug use. That kind of started at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the drug use and the selling of the drugs caught up with you eventually, correct? All right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, that's that when I heard that part of your story, my mouth dropped. I said I couldn't believe that, like a SWAT team showed up. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, so for me, it was I needed to rationalize my drug use, and I wasn't going to spend money, my hard-earned money that I used working on drugs. Is
Hmm.
how I thought of it. Right. Your moral compass slowly like gets a little
Deteriorates.
off,
Yeah.
and so I was like, I'm going to sell drugs to pay for my use. And if I if I fuck up any responsibilities, I'm going to quit. Well, your level of responsibility becomes very skewed the longer you get into your addiction. And so I started selling drugs to pay for my use. And then, I like to make money, and it was easy money at first. And it would pay for my flights out to LA all the time. And so that's where I just started selling drugs. And then when I moved out to LA, it just sort of escalated to the point where I was like, I'm going to get caught. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people coming in and out of my apartment, like a lot of them. Like, there's a lot of contact with a lot of people. And, the paranoia, I guess, kind of hit. And so I decided to like change my business model, I guess you could say. And I was like, I'm just going to find like 7 dealers that like want a lot of drugs, and I'll just be kind of like higher up and do that and be done. And I did, and that's what I did. And then my dealer got busted, and then next thing you know, I had a full SWAT raid at my house.
Wow, that must have been scary as hell, huh?
I don't know. Yeah. I think you're in shock when you're going through it. I think part of it too, though, there's a sense of relief. Because I knew at that point I was sick and tired. I knew that when I get sick and tired of being sick and tired, I would stop, and I just didn't want to like die and I didn't know I was an addict. Like, I didn't identify as an addict at this point at all, because I think part of it is I never ran out of anything.
Right.
Never ran out of drugs to have to like have that real like creepy addict behavior,
Yeah.
or like, or addicts live out of a car and they're homeless and shooting up heroin. That's what an addict is.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't me, right? I had everything. And, that's just kind of how that went.
Yeah. So, and this is methamphetamine, right? Most of it, or everything?
I sold everything.
Everything.
I didn't
So
smoke weed, no weed, no heroin.
Okay. Well, I mean, no heroin, but
Right.
I don't know.
I have
I don't
heroin,
know.
no
They're
crack.
all. It's all. Yeah. I
It
mean,
was ketamine, GHB, ecstasy, and meth.
wow. So that's
Okay.
quite the collection. Yeah. What was the hardest to kick? Alcohol? No, right?
Oh, out of everything. So the first round, I would say, like, I just couldn't stop. Like, I never really stopped anything. I don't know. Like, I was always high on meth. I was very self-medicating for ADHD, like 100%. Like, I didn't get high. Like, I'd be like watching my friends have this like totally different kind of high from meth. And I'm like, I want to go read a book. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing. I want to eat a sandwich and read a book.
Really?
It really like leveled me out. And so, for me, I know I tried to quit doing it. There were 2 times, and I think like what got me was, I mean, I was just so tired.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't poop.
I've heard
I don't
that.
know. That's what I remember, like out of the 2 times. And then it just always like I was in a relationship and we just never did it. And then when I finally went to rehab and detoxed, it was easy. I was just so done. I was so done. And at that point, like, I was just smoking meth, and it was harder to get all the drugs. It was after the SWAT raid. I was looking at jail time. Everybody was getting busted. So, and I wasn't smoking as much. So maybe that was it. I was just trying to like ration everything. But
Yeah. It's so meth is like a very interesting drug to me, because I have personal family members that have struggled with that substance, and I've noticed that it's just like such a soul sucker, isn't it? I mean, like, you're just on up for days and days and days where you don't even know who your identity is anymore. It's like you become a completely different person. It's really, really
I never got
tragic.
like that.
You never got like that? Okay.
No. I learned very quickly that if you eat and sleep, you're fine. I could smoke meth and go to bed. Like, in the beginning, I felt like I stayed awake, but I had been using meth for years. I don't know. So junior year, I mean, it was 6 years or something like that. But by the end, I would smoke meth and go to bed. Like, I could sleep on it. I always ate on it. I saw that people would have that like totally like flip out paranoia, like delusional, like insanity.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't eat and they wouldn't sleep. And so I always made sure I did that.
Well, so you were very mindful of the drug use.
I don't know.
I know the things that
I always eat, like, even like, when I was prescribed like Adderall and stuff, like I always ate. Like, it never did that to me. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I've actually never said this to anyone on my channel as well. But I actually have a like really bad ADHD as well. So I
I can
understand. I
tell.
understand
I'm
the
like, I can tell.
importance of eating and drinking plenty of fluids and having food in your stomach before you take your medication, because it can get like twitchy, and it's not very
Yeah.
comfortable for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about that time. So you went to prison for a pretty good stint of time. Like, what did you learn while you were in there? I mean, that's a long time to be in prison. Was it 2 years?
Um, yeah, 27 months.
Okay. Yeah.
I got out a little early because I did a drug treatment program and then went to a halfway house. Um, you know, I was so grateful to be sober that it like didn't, I mean, it was hard, and I think I definitely shut down and got very emotionally disconnected from people and my dog and like things like that. Like
Mm.
it's taken me a long time to really like be like I like I love you, or like I had to have like a couple dogs to be like
To
I
get
love
back,
something again. Like I love something again. Like I couldn't connect fully.
you couldn't connect after you got released.
Yeah, after I got out,
Yeah.
but otherwise, like I was so happy to be sober. You could have literally put me anywhere. You could have put me anywhere. Like it didn't matter. Like LA County time I did before that was awful, like a living nightmare, and it was hard. But like I was sober and I wasn't where I was before,
Mm.
and I was as freer than I'd ever been, but I was in federal prison. I was free from the drugs. Like I was free
That's fascinating.
from that life. Yeah,
So
it's crazy,
so
but I
you were sober in the jail,
stayed
obviously, and
sober through all of it. Yeah,
yeah,
I got sober before I got sentenced. I had the SWAT raid and then went to rehab and then did everything and stayed sober. And I learned how to drive a Genie Boom, a backhoe, a road grinder. Like I'm licensed to drive all of it. I ran a garden. I always say it, I really got grounded with Mother Earth because I was outside all day, every day, except for in the winter, just like like with my
hands in the
headphones
earth.
on, just finding myself. Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
in my greens.
You're making prison sound not that terrible.
I know. Well, I went to a federal camp for the LA County was awful.
Mhm.
It was awful. Like like it was awful.
Yeah,
Like
you were
I
like, oh my God, like, don't touch me. I'm in a corner. I'm like, this is
yeah,
terrifying.
it
Yeah.
was rough.
Mm.
It was rough. But yeah, you don't want to be a pretty girl in LA County, that's for sure.
No, no.
But federal, everybody else was like in there. It was all kind of the same thing. Like it's just like a lot of it was like girls who hung out with guys that sold, like it was a lot of meth. It was money crimes, and then and they would get like conspiracy. They get more time than the boyfriend and the drug dealer.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know why that is, but I
Yeah.
always tell, like, I've done a lot of work with younger girls, and I'm always like, listen, man, you're better off selling the drugs than being around the drugs. So stay away from both of them, but you're going to get more time with conspiracy.
Wow.
My federal charges, I was looking at 22 to life on my initial indictment,
Wow.
and conspiracy, I think, was like 9 years of it.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's get through this. So you went to jail, and you got out, and then tell me about like when did all of a sudden you said, I'm going to change my life around. I'm going to take all this pain and turn it into purpose. Like, tell me about that.
I, I when I was in there, when I got sober and I went through it, I like knew there was going to be something I was going to do. And I think it's really just starting to like really all come full circle, like what I do for a living. But in there I got my life, like I worked out a ton. Like I grew up really healthy. I was an athlete, and I got out, and I knew that as a felon, it would be really hard to get like a job, like at a corporation or something like that. Like I figured my charge ended up being money laundering. So like I got offered to do a lecture at a bank with a bank here about gut health and hormones, and I didn't get to do it because they did a background check and they won't let me in. They can't have anyone who's had a charge of money laundering.
Really?
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever had anything like that. And I was like, "Are
No
you kidding?" I'm
way.
like talking about hormones.
I
I'm
know
not even talking about that.
you're talking about like
They're
gut
like, "We
biomes.
can't." They're like, "We just can't." I'm like, "Oh my god."
That's
I didn't even know. I was like,
crazy.
"Okay."
Yeah.
And so I became a personal trainer, and that's just when I went full fledged into like health and wellness and trying to heal my body, and I was just always really open about my story with people, and that's how I got into the health and wellness industry. And I think my body, it took a toll on my body, all of it. You know, I have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of hormone issues and gut issues, and I had them growing up. I think part of like why I like to drink when I was younger was like it took away that feeling of like my stomach hurts all the time and I'm exhausted. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just another way to like run from what I'm feeling
Yeah.
because I didn't have a solution. I didn't. No doctors knew what was wrong.
Yeah.
So
That's, it's really kind of a funny, interesting connection there. Was so when I was drinking myself to death, that's what I was basically doing at the very end of it. I was just
oh
so
yeah, for
depressed.
sure.
It was just compounding anxiety and stress and just low self worth. That's how it went down. I was constantly having gut issues, and it made me think like because I would always be hungover, so I'd always be, taking Tylenol and all this, like, and it's just destroying my liver and my gut and like all these terrible things. Like, I didn't understand how important the gut was when it came to metabolizing alcohol in your liver and
Oh
everything
yeah.
like that. Like, when so can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, how important is your gut when it comes to, happy, like, healthy living, just being healthy and feeling
Yeah.
good?
Well, I mean, oof, that's a
I know it's a very big, very
that's a
kind of big question.
let me see some things I can touch on that.
Mm,
So, one thing I think is really important for addicts or people in whatever you want to call us.
yeah.
People don't like to identify as an addict.
Oh.
I wear it on my forehead, so
Oh
I
yeah.
can
I
say it.
mean, I started a
Yeah,
channel because like I
yeah.
almost died.
So,
So it's, yeah, I don't
yeah.
mind telling people that I had a drinking problem.
Um, so I think that it's really important to know that like neurotransmitters are made in the gut. So whatever's gonna like brain balance, like the stuff that's gonna keep you happy, the stuff that's going to you know, elevate your mood or make you depressed or give you anxiety or cause brain fog, all of that, like dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, those are all made in the gut. And if you have poor gut health, you're not going to make the proper neurotransmitters you need to be like healthy and thriving and happy and all of that.
Mm,
So that's like one big part of it. Um, you know, when you have a leaky gut, and an unhealthy gut microbiome, I mean, everything sort of falls apart. I mean, with women, it's a little different. Like, there's a lot of bacteria that can bind to certain hormones. But when you have a gut that is leaky, which most of us do, it's sort of like everything that goes in there is going to cross this like gut barrier, like your intestinal wall. And they call it leaky gut or intestinal permeability. And when all that stuff starts leaking out into your bloodstream, you're going to get highly symptomatic. So that's when you start seeing like you get eczema, acne, psoriasis, migraines, anything like that. But I mean, alcohol just, I mean, I always say like, so what do we use like hand sanitizer for? Right?
yeah.
To kill bacteria on our hands with
Hmm.
it. So it's ethanol. So alcohol is ethanol. So when we drink it, what are we doing? We're just wiping out everything in our gut.
Hmm.
You know, did that answer the
Yes,
question? It's
absolutely. You
very
just touched on like a ton of different things that
broad.
I can jump back into. But yeah, it is. It's just elephant. I mean, I've heard stories of people drinking, like severe alcoholics drinking straight hand sanitizer
Oh
and
yeah,
being
for
like
sure.
so excited when COVID hit because it was literally everywhere, so they could just take a bottle and run away with it. I seriously heard those kind of stories before. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy when you think about like how important the gut is and how much we just don't pay enough attention to it, and we wonder why we have such issues with
I mean,
stress and.
I think it's our first brain. I mean, come on, like I always say, like if something happens to your kid, right? Like, or you hear like some sad story, or you hear like something tragedy or something. Like, what's the first thing that happens? Is like you get a pit, you get like a feeling in your stomach,
Hmm.
like that pit, like that awful feeling. I mean, you have to trust your gut; it will tell you everything. I mean, we're addicts. We like to do what we want to do. We're impulsive, and we don't like to trust our gut. You know, we like to do what we want, but it's telling us. It's always telling us.
It
It's
is.
always when I look back, it's always spot on. The day that I was getting the SWAT raid, I was walking out of my apartment and there was a guy sitting at the patio furniture to the left, and I literally my whole stomach sunk. And this before I knew anything was going to happen, and I was like, something's fucking off.
Hmm.
And I kind of ignored it, and I walked out, and there was another like weird girl sitting in a car, and my stomach sunk. And 1 minute later, I'm being thrown on the fucking grass.
Yeah. It's
You
crazy
know,
when that is so true how your brain, I mean, how your gut is your second brain, and how those feelings of intense, like when I was drinking, and I was having all these issues, and I knew, okay, so like when I relapsed, so I did 125 days sober. That was like the longest stint I could do, and I did it with no support, like nothing, no knowledge about, you know, getting into a meeting. Well, I knew about it, but I just wasn't contributing in an like authentic, real, like vulnerable way, like you're supposed to. I was doing it like just like, oh my god, like I don't want to go to AA. I'm not an alcoholic, and just deny. I was noticing that I got so sick, and oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. What the hell was I just getting to?
No, it's
So
good.
yeah, so your gut basically being your second brain. That was my initial my getting back to that point was every single time I got in trouble, every single decision I've ever made. So when I did those 125 days sober, and I was like freaking out, and I couldn't even imagine drinking again. And I had this big argument with my wife, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm back in walking to the liquor store. That gut feeling of walking into the liquor store, knowing that this is probably the biggest mistake of my life, which it ended up being because I drank myself to almost death. Uh, if you just listen to your gut, right? I mean, all those moments you can avoid, but we just don't think
yeah,
of it.
but I always say like that's the power of the disease. Like that's how I knew. That's how I knew that this is not just me not having enough willpower. Like the first time I was like, it's so easy. And everyone's like, you can do this. Like I was like asking to go to treatment the second time around. Like I was like, I do not got this like at all. And every day at 4 o'clock, it was like a bottle of gin. Like I couldn't fucking stop. And I was like, this isn't a willpower thing. Like, I don't know. I mean, it was, looking back, it was DTs too, but like, this is a fucking, it's a disease. Like it is powerful, and that's how it will override anything. It will
Everything.
override any rational thought unless you have every fucking tool that you ready to do it. You
Yeah.
know, like to man up when it comes like those thoughts because they come quick.
I mean, that's
And
what I try to tell people. Like I'm a, you know, I was a teacher. I was on paper. I looked like this perfect person. Like, right, I had a wife. I had a teaching job. I was like doing all these things. I mean, well, it was crazy, but yes, I did have the things on paper that made it look very, very normal. But like the second I had alcohol, I mean, when I was 14, it turned on a switch to me that like I was chasing that high for the rest of my life. That's like how it felt with the alcohol. But yeah, it's just like it just turned my personality into just I need it, and everything else in my life was I never needed. You know, I could make a decision yes or no for that. But
oh
with
yeah, like
alcohol,
I
it
don't eat
was
sugar, like gluten. Like I was the healthiest, like fucking alcoholic in the world. Like so, I was drinking like potato vodka and like vodka derived from grapes. Like it was all so clean. But I knew when I started picking up those like airplane bottles of like anything on the checkout
mm-hmm.
to try to like keep a like only six, right? Only six, and then you'd be going right back to like the gas station and shit. But I started drinking like the crappy stuff. I was like, this is a
Yeah,
bad
me
place for
too.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was drinking Smirnoff, the giant bottles, like the just like the plastic ones that are like
Oh
you
yeah,
can
I did
stick
so.
in like weird spots. Like, oh my god, yeah, it was a nightmare. I was living in I was just living in hell, just constant fear and chaos. That's like how it felt, even though, you know, it really wasn't that bad. I was never like out, you know, I never got in trouble. Like I never like ran and got hit, but you know, it was like stuff that was just I was severely in the closet when it came to my alcohol
Yeah,
addiction. That's like basically
yeah.
what came down to it. So all right, so tell us a little bit about your life now. I mean, you made a decision to turn it all around and write a book. I mean, there's so much more we can talk about. And like,
Yeah,
let's talk
yeah.
about the happy stuff. Like,
I
so like, let's
I
talk
didn't
about,
really make a decision. I don't think I made a decision. I think I just for
sorry.
a while I didn't have a choice, and you know, I know at this point. So what happened? Like I finally got sober. Like I pretty much I was in a relationship with this guy. It was exactly every like it was like my kryptonite guy. Like he just like 6'4" tattoos, like just hot, like every like just right there. And I got in a relationship with him, and I always say it was my higher power doing me like the biggest favor in the world. And they put him in my life and basically ripped him out after I had a relapse. And so after I lost him and a really close friend, it was the first time I lost a human
Hmm.
to my addiction, and that's what got me sober. So that second round after that, I haven't even had a craving. It's crazy. It just did it, and I just felt like, and then I just got very. At that point, I was like, you know what? I can be open. I want to be open about like this mommy like wine culture, like this whole like all of it, and then you know I wanted to help people post addiction like feel better because
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of times you still have sugar cravings, your gut's a mess, you're gaining weight, you're like I feel good. And that could be a slip, is if someone feels that bad after they quit drinking. It's like, why fucking bother, right? We have the mind. Like, why bother? Why am I doing this? I feel worse. Like, I felt better when I was drinking. Like, all of the thoughts will start to come.
Oh yeah.
And I hope that people can find me to be like, okay, there's a roadblock here. Let's talk to this girl and let's see what she means about balancing the hormones and cleaning up the gut and getting rid of food sensitivities and working on blood sugar, because our blood sugar after drinking for sure is a mess. Like alcohol, like I tell people, do drugs, like just go, maybe not meth, but like microdose, do some like whatever, but do not,
Yeah, don't keep hammering away
don't
your
drink.
liver. Yeah.
Drinking is really, and I mean, even one drink for the gut or females like a week is like horrific on the body.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, it just sort of happened where it's come full circle and it's just building more and more. Like I started DJing again, and now I'm like having these health, like wellness raves, and like bringing like NA beer companies in, and like these, like I'm doing like a soft kink party, but it's completely sober tomorrow night, where I'm somehow DJing and it's like sponsored by like these neurotropic drinks, and like
That's
it's just
sweet.
like, I know, and I'm doing like some coffee and ice events where I have my cold plunge company and saunas and a DJ, and then like I'm promoting health and wellness. So like it's all sort of like coming full circle. But like I think people are more sober curious, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So it's just different. It's a very different thing. But don't want to forget, because you were talking about your ADD and all your things.
Yeah.
So, and then you were talking about the colostomy bag and all that stuff. So, like, you want to make sure that you get your gut checked.
Yeah.
And number one for SIBO, and that's a small intestinal bacteria overgrowth from like being in the hospital. Like everything you've said,
Mm-hmm.
you probably have that, which can cause severe brain fog, which makes you feel like your ADD be like it's on
Oh
steroids.
my
Like
God,
your
that's
Adderall, like none of it, like it will not even work. But if you have any bacterial, but it usually is coupled with like a candida or a yeast or some sort of fungus that
mm-hmm.
goes with it. Um, you might have parasite in there too, but those things are usually go kind of hand in hand. But that brain fog,
my,
just from like the little snippet that you did, and then high
that and
doses
that's
of
coming
saffron.
more and more. That's happening more and more often, which is like really
Yeah,
scary. Yeah, it worries
well, you
me.
probably have like a super like adrenal burnout from like tearing your body apart, and your drainage pathways are like, so most of us, I would say, our drainage pathways are pretty congested. So like our liver, our kidneys, and our gallbladder do not know how to flush out toxins that we take in on a daily basis. Like with women, they don't know how to like, okay, I got to flush out my progesterone, I need to do that. And so like, because what happens when you drink is between like 1 and 3 in the morning is when you detox, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every time you drink, you wake up, right? Almost
And,
everybody
oh
wakes
my
up, and
God, like
it's like,
clockwork. Yeah, it was
oh yeah.
3 a.m.
And
for me, but yes, clockwork. Yeah.
so that's when your liver's basically saying, what the fuck did you do?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to detox all this alcohol and all that other stuff I need to do to keep you healthy and thriving and optimal is not going to happen. I'm going to work on the alcohol. So that's always what it's doing, and nothing else gets really processed. It will always choose alcohol to detox, always. And that's
Always.
why you wake up. It's a stress response. Your cortisol goes up. So alcohol is a temporary relief of the anxiety. If you have one drink and you're not an alcoholic or an addict, like that one drink will relieve it, but then it causes like a cortisol, like a stress response in the body
Mm-hmm.
too. It's just, and then you store fat. I mean, it's just like so many catalysts.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but you should definitely get your gut. And then high doses of saffron, like a supplement, and I can send you a link or whatever you want, is really, really great for ADHD. I have people get off their meds by taking that
Just
alone.
saffron?
Yeah, high doses of saffron.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Because yeah, I
Or
don't.
you might be able to lower your meds a little bit, but
Mm-hmm. That's
yeah, between the
that's
gut
really
and alcohol.
thank you for all that wonderful recommendations of helping me. I really do appreciate that, and hopefully anyone
Yeah.
watching and listening,
Well, I think people watching will
yeah,
really
will also
train them.
benefit from that information as well. So thank you, Samantha. So like the you talked about like food sensitivities a little bit too there. Like I noticed you've mentioned that a few times on other podcasts and things like that. What it is, I know people have food sensitivities, but like what do you mean like having it checked? Like what does that mean? Like what does that entail?
So when I work with clients, like all the labs, like I send you a lab kit. They're very specialty lab testing. It's not something you do at the doctor that's like insurance based. They're very like high quality labs. It's like getting like a probiotic from Walgreens or getting a probiotic from like a really good supplement store. It's like a very big difference. So the labs that I use are very specific.
Mm-hmm.
And I do food sensitivity testing, and it tests for 176 different foods. And what I do, and especially with addicts, is like when we remove those inflammatory foods, you'll see a decrease in like the binge eating, because you'll see a lot of that, like a lot of it carries over into food addiction after you get sober, or you've struggled with it throughout your sobriety. But you know, um, when you eat an inflammatory food, you get like a dopamine response. You get this like feel good response because it's an inflammation in the brain. So once you have that trigger and that happen, you want more of it, and then you start the binge eating. So that inflammatory response of like the foods, even if you're eating carrots or spinach or something super healthy,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a food sensitivity to it, it's going to cause that response, and then you're probably going to start binging.
What do you think the easiest? This is more. I feel like I'm using you as a personal, uh, personal case here, but I have the opportunity. I might as well. Uh, sugar, sugar for me is my vice these days. A lot of that I think you can relate to the dopamine receptors and the neural, the neurobiology of it all, and in like how you get that spike of that dopamine hit. That's very similar to alcohol. So I'm curious, like from your point of view, what do you think is the easiest way to kind of curb the sugar and get it out of my diet?
Well, so if you
Just get
can
it from.
keep it out for 14 days, it'll be really good. But when you're craving the sugar, first drink water, because a lot of times people are just dehydrated with like electrolytes, like good clean ones that don't have sugar in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then try to eat like a very like either like a lot of fat, so like a couple scoops of some sort of raw almond butter or like coconut oil. But usually like a fat and protein can curb that, but it's your blood sugar is super unstable. So it depends on what you're eating throughout the day. I would
Mm-hmm.
have to like look at that. But I would say you really got to work on like making sure you just have a super high protein and high fat diet, and it'll help with those cravings. And don't cut a bunch of carbs out, and like, but make sure you're having healthy carbs. So like fruit and rice and, sweet potatoes, those are all really good options for you. But always pair it with a protein.
Yeah.
So never have a carb alone. So that could be part of it. And then gut, I mean, parasites and yeast and all those things like thrive off sugar.
Mm.
So when you take it away from them, they get pissed off, and then they're going to make you eat it. But
Oh.
they're that powerful, 110%. The die off, you start to feel uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll eat it. And you almost are like more bloated not eating it, because you're killing a little bit of what's in there, like thriving off it, the bacteria. So you get something like, it's like ammonia will be released in your gut. So you'll get some like gas and bloating or whatever. So then you eat it and you actually feel better, because it's like, okay, it's back to its homeostasis, where it's like just doing its thing and it's not dying.
Yeah.
So,
That's fascinating that there's so much to it. I mean, there's so much to your gut that, will then affect another area of your life. And it's just crazy. Like what you eat it's so important. Like what you eat, it's just like one of the most important things you can
you
do.
are what you eat.
What's that?
Yeah. You are what you eat.
You are what you eat.
But yeah, I would say when you crave it, just eat some protein, man. Like eat some protein and high fat. Try
Mm-hmm.
to like bone broth's a great thing, but you got to kind of get through the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But there's so many other things, like stevia is a great alternative. I mean, now it's so easy to find like alternatives with not like cane sugar or evaporated cane juice. Like Hugh Kitchen is a great type of chocolate that's doesn't have any sugar in it, that I think has enough protein with coconut and stuff like that it balances out. There's definitely candy and stuff that's made that's pretty clean, I think, these days.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you again for that great advice and tips. So when you work with women and they come to you and they're asking for help, support when it comes to their drinking, like what do you think the biggest issue with women specifically, and a lot of people who watch the show is actually a lot of them are women. So I'd be curious to know like what your answers to this is, but specifically, is it about like when women reach out to you, like what are they struggling with the most when it comes to alcohol? Is it like they're just drinking too much, do you think, or is it just like a multitude
So
of
I
things?
don't help get people sober. I usually work with people after they've been sober.
Mm,
Or they're just they might be trying to quit, but like they just need me to tell them like, hey, here's what's going on, and then they'll stop. So they're more normal.
yeah.
But but I mean, I'll educate them on like how much it's going to cause all the PMS and all the night sweats and all the hot flashes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I usually work with people after they've been sober for a little bit.
Okay. So
At least.
so how much, like, how bad really is alcohol? I mean, honestly, when it comes to like even having like 2-3 glasses of wine a week, is it
It's horrible.
horrible, right?
Horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you listened to like the 7-hour Huberman like
Oh
podcast
God,
on
yeah,
it?
yeah.
I mean, it's just horrible. And like for women, like on their hormonal system, I mean, they think the one drink is fine, but that one drink just like their sleep is disrupted, their hormones are disrupted. It causes a lot of estrogen dominance. Um, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just a cycle of
go down,
nightmare.
yeah, yeah,
And it's so hard. And the thing about it is like women are like, well, who am I if I don't go out and drink and I don't have a beer in my hand or a cocktail or whatever, right? Like, what's my identity? And like, what do you, like, it's hard to tell people like, oh, well, you got to figure out what your passions are. And it's not like you stop having fun when you get sober. All the fun is still the same. It's just not clouded by the the fogginess of drugs and alcohol and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to take too much of your time, and I know this has been kind of a chaotic podcast episode, and I apologize for that. But it's I think we have enough in here. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there any last anything that you want to say before you jump off?
No, I mean, if anyone is interested in working with me, to check out, I do a free clarity call. I love to do it. It's like a full health history, and then we can talk about like a customized plan for you. I do nutrition, and that's www.cfitpt.com. So it's SEEFIT, and then my Instagram. You can learn a lot of stuff and see me doing really stupid things at CFit Living, which is SEEFIT, and then living.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Samantha, for coming on. And please, everyone, go check out at CFit, right?
CFit Living.
CFit Living. At CFit Living. There we go. So everyone go check out at CFit Living. Check out Samantha, and maybe you can use her help, and that would be wonderful to both ends. Yeah. So thank you, everyone, for getting through this episode with me, and thank you so much, Samantha, for coming on and being so patient and an understanding of my my crazy brain and how it acts sometimes. And right now, it's acting like a crazy one. So
it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Samantha, and be on the lookout for many more episodes coming soon. Take care, everybody.